If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Andre Ewell on the show. He is back in action in a little over 2 weeks' time, February 8th at UFC 247, taking on Jonathan Martinez. Very fun fight, 135 pounds. Andre, how are you, man?
Man, feeling great. Literally just waking up, but excited to have this interview, you know? So
yes.
Let's make it happen.
I'm surprised over the years. This is the first time we've done this, so I appreciate your time very much. And I saw yesterday was your birthday. Happy birthday, sir. How did you celebrate the big 3-2?
We're training, a lot of training, and I figured how old I was when I went and watched basically Bad Boys 3, and then they kept on like throwing around the word 25, 25 years, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like really old, you know, but yeah.
Was it good? Like yeah, because the series is crazy because, you know, the first one's great, the second one I think is even better than the first, and it's very rare that the sequel's better. How would you rate the third one?
Third one, it gives you the first vibe. It gives you the first vibe, so I'm expecting the fourth one to be just like the number 2 of Bad Boys. So the series, it just brought you back to the first one where it's not much jokes, but it got jokes, but it's more, hey, we're focused on what's going on, the crime, the whole vibe of violence and stuff like that, and what we're going to do, revenge and reverse it and everything, you know. So it brought you back to number 1. So I actually loved it. The fact is, number 1 was my favorite one.
You said... And hopefully we're not spoiling anything here. You said when they do the fourth one, it's going to be like the second one. Are you saying they're teasing another one? We're going to do this again?
Teasing it. Yep, they are teasing it and speaking on it, and I'm hoping that they might slide me in that bad boy. I'm trying to get in that movie, you know? So, yeah, they teased the number 4, and they're already, like, in talking, or basically they're speaking on pushing on number 4, so that part it got me excited about.
There you
so
go.
It's kind of like moving on for the next generation, if you want to place it like that.
All right. Well, I'm excited. I still have to go out and see the third one, but it looks like the series is going to continue. But the UFC, they hooked you up with a little bit of an early birthday present, didn't they? I mean, you've been all over social media. You've been wanting to get back in there. You've been looking for a fight, and you got one, but it came together pretty quickly. How excited are you to get that wish and to have it happen so fast?
Super excited. You know, the fact is I was already being prepared for February. It's one of those things. If I was able to have something in January, it would have been even awesome. But February is what they gave me, and you know I have a baby coming soon, so the goal was to have a fight January, February beforehand, and then I was going to take a little time for me and the baby and my lady and everything, you know, and then I'll be back in like August/September. So it was perfect timing.
So when is the time frame here for the baby?
For the baby, the time frame would be April 1st, but I got a feeling the baby's coming in March. So it was one of those, like, I don't want to be all the way up in, like, New Zealand, or actually, no, New Zealand would have been a February card, so that actually would have been perfect. But it was Australia card, I believe. It was March. I think it was, like, mid-March or third week of March. And, you know, they were, like, speaking of it, and they're bringing it to my table. And I was like, nah, just in case my baby comes out early, I don't even want to even be out there too far. And I got to take about, 2-3 days just to get back. And I come back, my baby's already here, and I don't have that whole, experience of seeing them being born and everything, because it's always going to be a future talk. Yeah, your daddy wasn't here, And I'm going to be like, no, I was, I was just working, I was like, yeah. So I was like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be going through that, So I don't have my mind somewhere else. My mind got to be strictly fighting, and then when the time comes, everything,
So you said you're having a boy?
Oh, having a boy. Definitely having a boy. We're naming him June Daii Ewell,
Nice.
So in the flesh. So, but yeah, so April 1st is the due date. I'm hoping April 1st, because I'm gonna have so many jokes every year for him. Yeah.
Is this your first kid?
Second. Which everybody kind of knows. I'm kind of going through the whole custody battle of trying to get my first son. And it's kind of like, drama over drama, and it seems like I'm digging me into a deeper hole of a situation. But being positive and staying positive that things will turn around, and when that day comes, I already know both sides are going to end up being happening, and that's the sides of mine and my son. So, so pushing for custody for that.
Let's talk about the fight, man. This is going to be your second time sharing a card with Jon Jones, and the first time was in December of 2018. We all know what happened there with the card being moved, at the last minute from Vegas to Inglewood. Just a crazy set of circumstances. Are you looking forward to a smoother pay-per-view fight week this time around?
Oh, definitely. A lot smoother. And the fact is that I was, Texas is like the second home to me. So that's actually going to be amazing. And the fact is, Jon Jones is my second favorite fighter. And, he only comes behind Mighty Mouse. So you can already kind of like see how high that level what that is. But at the end of the day, it's about me still in the show. And the fact is I'm on the same card as Chito Vera. So that is something that I will be pushing as well once I get done fighting my fight, hoping he keeps winning. So when we end up meeting down the line, it's even better sweet for, a rematch.
What did you take away from that fight with Marlon in that crazy night in Tampa?
Just still had holes. It's one of those situations that I started out good. He came out threatening. I survived it and pushed the pace, and things ended up folding. And, the third round was the round that, he capitalized and things ended up happening. And it was like a minor mistake of me dipping my head off of a 1-2. And when that happened, everything started to go there in that situation. But reality, he was a better guy that night. And so, nothing but respect and points to him. But we have to honestly run that back off of other, situations that have been going on. But me and him, so just know the future is going to end up being bright where me and him are going to see each other back in the cage soon.
What do you mean circumstances?
Just situations like things that end up happening inside the cage and outside the cage. And, I'm a very respectful person. He's a very respectful person, but the outside party didn't bring it where it was respectful. So, but it's water under the bridge type thing, but it's already set and settled that I need the rematch, and he knows it. The world knows it. So it's one of those things that will end up happening. It's just that it's all about timing. So he has to keep winning, and I have to keep winning. And when that situation keep happening, then it'll be brought back to the table, and then we got to run that one back. So, but if he ends up losing, then just know that I'm going after his opponent that he just had, or Jimmy, and make that happen, and then now hopefully make him want to end up fighting me. So, so now I have something over his head. Well, hey, you want my spot? So there you go. But I ever look at it, it's a sport of people end up. The way I look at it, like Nate Diaz said, you ain't a real man unless you end up trying to get the rematch of the person that beats you. Didn't really say in those words because it's a lot of cursing and everything. Yeah, Nate does it, but for me, that's where I'm at right now. It's like I lost to somebody that I should have beat, and that's how I honestly feel. And the world ended up feeling that, or at least a lot of, besides his fans and everything, but a lot of it was like, hey, yo, you had that just the third round. I don't know what happened, etc. And, it goes in that direction. The dude's threatening. He's a black belt on the ground, and, he's one of the way that my professor was placing it, that he is the most dangerous black belt that's in the 35 in our weight class. And from a professor to say that, I'm like, all right, it's a believable statement. So for that to happen, it ends up being cool. So like I said, the next time we run it back, it'll be one of those situations that it's even better sweet, especially if I end up tapping them. So that's a winner. Yeah.
And now you get this matchup with Jonathan Martinez in Houston, Texas, your second home, so to speak. Jonathan also is from Texas himself. Jonathan he's looked pretty good in his last couple of fights. He had a great knockout in his last fight in Sacramento. What did you think of the matchup when you saw Jonathan's name on the other side of the paper?
I thought of it, or one, I ended up understanding his last interview, or one of his interviews, he ended up stating he wanted a brawl. He wanted to fight he wanted a fight that's down to brawl, and I am the guy that loves the brawl. I love to throw hands. It doesn't matter how you end up looking at it. Anything that excites the excite the world or, the audience that's watching, to keep it entertaining, I'm that guy, And for Martinez, with his style of fighting of his last, actually, we can say all three, even when he fought Andre Sukuntaj, it was like, it was nice. It was like everything was like a good striking point. Yeah, it got to the moment that they're rolling, but how you don't end up hearing a lot of men just asking to throw, And he's one of those guys, a young cat that's willing to honestly throw, keep it exciting. He knows that, hey, the job is about making it exciting. If you want to be the man on the top, you got to keep it exciting. No matter how you end up looking at it, everybody that you see that are exciting, they're at the top by keeping it exciting. So there's that opportunity for me and him to make that happen.
And what I think might be a little refreshing as well is in an age where, closed mouths don't get fed. But, I mean, it's a respectful thing like you talked about. Jonathan's a man of few words. He just smiles and nods and fights. Like, that's kind of what you're looking for at this point.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because just how you end up placing it, it's like he brings the respect to the table, and that's where I'm at. I bring the respect to the table. So it's always love, smiles, ain't no need to talk trash. And, obviously, it's going to probably be a point that people are or will, or, maybe I will at the end of the day, but I'm going to always keep my face as in smiling. And the only thing I know how to do is, hey, handle it in the cage with these hands, So that's what we got to end up doing. So he gets points.
There you go. By the way, I saw you got your purple belt a couple weeks ago. Kudos to you on that. What did that mean to you as a martial artist to get that purple belt?
Man, just like Friday, I cried in the car. And it was an emotional moment, because it's like Professor Sean. He puts us through the hell. He ends up doing that. He ends up putting more scenarios. Man, for me to be able to share that experience with him, my teammates, my lady, everything. It was awesome. Just the fact is in the day that I did start and the day that I wanted to start, and to the moment of where I'm at right now, I'm only 2 colors away from being a black belt. So I'm right in the middle of that threshold of, hey, you're here, and it ain't no turning back now. Like, you turn back around, you just gave up everything. So if you keep pushing, hey, you're just around the corner. And so regardless of the situation, it makes it honestly awesome. So, yeah. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you seem like it still kind of like strikes a chord as well, just talking about it. But you mentioned your lady a few times, and I think it's so important for fighters to find somebody to ride or die with. You, little bad boys lingo right there, because especially in this sport, it is very difficult to understand the life of a fighter, what they need, and like what accomplishes means. Like getting the purple belt, like having her there to support that's a huge moment for you. How beneficial has that been to have her by your side and just understand you as a fighter and what it takes to get to where you want to get in the sport?
It's amazing. Just the fact that people don't end up understanding like how you're placing it, that if you have like a bad seed, that seed could end up growing to be rotten and everything, and she's not a bad seed. She's someone that's here trying to do her best, honestly, try to help on any situation that I end up needing, especially when it comes into just, she even was joining and she was in class all the way up until the certain time of the pregnancy and everything, She even got her one stripe on her white belt. So she was happy, Nice. So, but for us to be able to do that together, how they end up saying, a couple that roll together, stay together, But, it's one of those things, like she's always there. So, beginning from it and, till now. So she's pushing, and that's, so obviously end up telling everybody, if you end up getting yourself a relationship, make sure it's a good one that ends up supporting it, because like I stated, everything can go downhill and everybody not end up understanding that part.
So you get to kick off 2020 on a huge card. You get 2 title fights at the top. There's a lot going on here. You're looking to bounce back from the Vera fight. You get a baby son on the way. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about, a lot to motivate you right now. How do you plan to set the table for these title fights? How do you see this all going down against Jonathan Martinez?
Straight exciting. I'm bringing the fight. I see it ending in the first round, and if it goes through all 3 rounds, I know he has heart, and I have heart, that it's going to be exciting. Everybody that I believe we might be opening up the card. So if we do, people are going to end up being excited that's watching it, and we're gonna set the tone for everything. And now I feel like everybody's gonna have to be on a catch-up mode. Like, hey, they started up the work, we got to get out there and try to match it. So energy will be matched and energy will be placed out there, and it's going to be nothing but positive. So nothing but love out here.
So it's fair to say, if you have tickets, get there early. Do not miss the first fight of the night.
There it is. Exactly.
I'm trying to help everybody out here. I assume I know the answer to this, but did you watch UFC 246 on Saturday?
That I did. Conor with his shoulder poppers, Hey, the card was exciting, Can't end up complaining about anything on that card. Everybody, shout out to Diego for beating Anthony Pettis, I met him personally when I went last time I was in Texas. So Diego's a really cool cat, very humble. That's a humble guy too.
Yeah.
He's quiet. He'll just sit there. I was in his gym, and as soon as I walked in, he just allowed me to, come in and, work with his guys. And then we're at the end, we're just chopping it up, and he was like very mellow, but funny in a way. It was like, he'll give you a little joke. And I was like, oh, this is very, the dude's very home welcoming,
Yeah.
And yeah, I was hoping to jump on the same card with him. And one of the cards, like I said, a few cards, because, just being around people that it's always, it's always cool, cool points. Like New Zealand, I wanted to jump on the same card as Jalen Turner, but didn't happen that way. Because, we actually train with each other, stuff like that. But yeah, that would have been points. But yeah, points again to Diego for his win, which moved him up in the ranks. And so, nothing but credibility there. And hopefully Cowboy gets back on his feet, which we already know. He's exciting. He loves fights. So he'll be back there soon. Knowing him, he'll probably be back there next month. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, but yeah, the card was nice. I ended up seeing that. It's an amazing card.
There's a narrative that's been out there for a while, and it's more so now since Saturday, that when Conor's back and he's winning, it's good for everybody. It's good for Conor. It's good for the UFC. It's good for the fighters. It's good for the fans. Everybody. Like, what are your thoughts on that from a fighter's perspective? Because outside of less than a month after you debuted against Barao, the loss to Khabib, we haven't seen Conor fight at all until Saturday. So do you notice sort of a different buzz, a different feeling in the air as a fighter now that he's back and winning in 40 seconds?
Well, it's always a buzz for him, It's the fact is that when I was what I was speaking on earlier, it's excitement. No matter how you end up looking at it, Conor is exciting. Conor already crossed the threshold of going to boxing, and then he came back. Like Khabib. Khabib was the man, right? But if you take away Conor, Khabib is just Khabib that's on a winning streak. But you bring in Conor, Khabib is the guy that's on a winning streak that beat Conor. Conor gave him the $1 million threshold. And then now Khabib's able to give another man the $1 million threshold. Just like Ferguson. He's about to probably make $1 million just fighting Khabib. Doesn't matter how you look at it, because Conor made Khabib the $1 million fighter. So it's all about how you perspective and how you place it and how you place your pieces. Conor's that man, right? At the moment, doesn't matter how you end up flipping that coin. Conor's that dude. And then when he retires, it's going to end up becoming who's the next light. And everything kind of places on that, on that threshold right now. Jones was the man back then. The money that the team they're making now is what Jones and them were making in that era. It's even though it's not big millions, but the money that they're making look like millions, and and then the people that are under it look like chip chains where, hey, we got to complain, we're not making enough, and et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of the day, it's, you already know what you signed up for you to make that money. You got to be excited, because if you place it in boxing, not everybody's making $1 million. And the thing is that there's a lot of fighters that are actually better than the guys that are making $1 million. It's just about the right fight, right placement, and what you're bringing to the table. And I promise you, I ended up getting a lot of messages on that. One of how to pick up a manager, or should I go with this manager or not this manager, something in that direction. One of them asked about my manager, and he was like, oh yeah, how much do you think I need him or whatnot? And I was telling him, I'm like, you just got places like this. You're the cake. Doesn't matter how you look at it, you're the cake. Now the question is what type of flavor of a cake you bring to the table. I was like, your manager's just the candles. Everybody loves candles. It Doesn't matter how you look at it. It's your birthday. They want to blow out the candles, but reality, you're the cake. You're the main source, but the candles is what people see, and the candles is making it special, or the real celebration of, all right, I get to blow something out, So it's just, it ends up coming out like, what do you bring to the table? So excitement. And Conor's that excitement.
It's very insightful. Very insightful. I like the candle reference. When's the Andre Ewell podcast coming out? I think you got something here, man. I think you got something. I'm a big analogy guy. I'm a big comparison guy. Like, I think you got a lot to bring to the table. Any thoughts about doing some podcast and educating the folks?
See, at first it was a no, because just practicing that my brother and cousin are gonna end up doing one, and I was just always gonna be like a special guest and drop in. But yeah, I think that would be the furthest I'm gonna go with the podcast. It'll be me dropping in on on there, so it'll be like a once a month thing, every other week, or how I end up placing it, But right now, I'm just gonna enjoy jumping on everybody else's podcast, showing smiles and everything, Hey.
What'd you think of Kelleher's performance? Obviously a lot going on in his life. It was the last fight on his deal. He's coming up back-to-back finish losses. And as a fellow, 35er, I'm sure you're watching that fight closely with Daii Osborne. What'd you think of his performance?
Brian's always exciting, He ends up keeping it, and everybody knows that he was one of the guys that, we actually talked of having a fight and everything, literally had a cross messages back and forth with, but all respect with love, to be honest, we're aiming to have that fight where it was between us, but they gave him that opponent, and then I ended up getting my opponent, but it's a fight that's talked about in the future, and I know the world will love it, because they literally asked who you guys want to watch, or who do y'all want me to fight next. And Brian Kelleher was the name that popped up. So it's automatically will be exciting. So in the future, that would be something. Actually, after my fight, that could be the next one that get brought up to the table. But obviously, it would have to be in August/September, if that ends up happening. Or unless we do like a quick early round turnaround, like March 7th, or the 1st of March, whatever you look at it, like we can end up knocking that out. But regardless of the situation, that's the fight that's placed on the table next for us, probably.
How do you make 2020 the best of your career? Like, what goals, what kinds of things do you have in mind to accomplish this year as a fighter and as a person as well? I mean, you get a lot going on right now. Behind the scenes, you got a kid on the way. There's a lot going on. How do you make this the best year of your career?
Hard work. Make sure that I am a father that's there. I'm not to share nothing but love, and at the same time accomplishing my goals on the fights. Like, I want to have 3 fights by the end of the year. So first one coming up when I get back in August/September, and then maybe one in December, and that's me winning all 3 of them, because I had to be on a winning streak, and I'm definitely going to be on a winning streak. So everything's going to be placed right, and it's going to keep it exciting for everything. So by the end of the year, hey, I want to end up being at 50,000 new followers, people watching me off of my thing, I want them to honestly be rooting, and by the end of the year, they're calling me the people's champ. And if not the people's champ, the great one. So one or the other. I can't stop playing off of that, So that's that. We got to place goals off of that, and that's where I'm aiming for.
There you go. Andre Ewell, it all kicks off February 8th, UFC 247 in Houston, Texas, taking on Jonathan Martinez. Really looking forward to this fight. Andre, I appreciate the time very much. Before we let you go, let's build that following up a little bit. Let's get you close to that 50,000. Let the folks know where to find and follow you on social media, the web, any shout-outs, anything else you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours.
All right, 1, thank you for having me. Truly appreciate it. And 2, you guys can follow me at Daii42 on Instagram, which is spelled Daii42. Definitely follow me, and nothing but shout outs to, my family, my team, people that helped me, the people that end up helping me, wishing me happy birthday yesterday. I truly appreciate that. Thank you for the love, and, obviously tune in. The fight will be exciting, and that's how I can look at it. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Andre. All the best to you on February 8th, and happy belated birthday once again.
Thank you, brother.